Yes, I'm getting my. Give me a second, guys. I'm getting my guess in. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hold on. Hold on. Don't own the rights to the music. Don't know. I'm waiting for my friend Morgan to get on here. What am I doing? Give me a second. I have to wait. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I have to wait for my guest to come through before I play that because sincerely. Let me see what's going on. I'm going to have to text Morgan. I don't know what's up, but let me get this going here. Give me a second. How are you? Good afternoon. Welcome to the live. We talking sales, baby. There he go. We are talking sales. Okay, I'm about to bring talking. Hold on, talking. I'm about to bring my guest in. I am about to bring my guest in. Morgan Ingram. Yes, good God, he's coming in. Add to the stream. So now we can play. The music because this is fitting. Amen.
Hey, there we go. We're ready. I love it. We're
Yes,
ready.
welcome to
We're
yes,
ready.
greatness is filled. Good God.
I love
Let's
it.
go,
I
y'all.
love it.
Thank you for coming through. Yes.
We're here. We're here.
Let this rock out for a minute. I have my guest, Mr. Morgan Ingram.
We
Yes,
got the
sound
energy. We
excellent.
got.
Big Apple in the building. Let's go. Get up. Greatness is filled. What you say?
Hey,
Ha!
ATL. Hey.
But I'm quite grown. Get to the cash. Okay.
I like it. I like it. Here we go. We're
You
ready.
like
We're ready. We're
I
ready
had to
now.
I had to come in, I like to come in and with a little spirit. You
You
understand? I
have
have a
to.
lot
You
of
have to.
energy.
You have to.
I have a lot of energy. Wow. Welcome to the show, my friend. Welcome to the show. Welcome everybody that's here on the live. We are about to enter a group, my friend, of 49K business women entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And I brought you through because I'm in this group a lot and I give a lot of nuggets. Okay, because my background is mental astuteness. I come from the staffing industry. I have a master's in psychology, a bachelor's in communication. I've ran 3 businesses. I run my program now, and I feel that the reason why the playing field, the economic playing field for Black women is not leveraged is because we don't have the business intelligence, not the smarts. See, it's one thing from being smart and being intelligent, and we don't understand how sales work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share into this group. They are saying hello to you right now.
What's up?
Let me share to the group so we can get this started, get this party started, so you can drop them nuggets and help us get to where we need to be. Amen.
Absolutely. Amen. Amen to that.
Amen. So while I'm doing the sharing, why don't you talk about yourself, my dear friend?
Yeah, absolutely. So I come from ATL, Georgia, born and raised. So if y'all been to Atlanta, so shout out to Atlanta. And I started off as a sales development rep, so what that's called a sales SDR. And the whole role with that is I reach out to accounts, cold calling, emailing, social selling, etc. So I cold called to get that job. I had no intention of getting into sales at all. And so I just cold called the VP of sales and they were like, yep, come in for the interview. And that's how I started off. So first job out of college was in sales and then continuously learn the role. So learn how to cold call, learn how to email, learn how to bring value in a very short and concise way. So people are willing to be like, hey, I want to take a meeting with you. And through that, I started a YouTube channel called the SDR Chronicles. And the whole goal with the SDR Chronicles was to document and share my journey as an SDR while I was still in the role. So it was relevant knowledge that I was currently still in. And then from there, I ended up getting promoted to a manager. So I was over a team of 13 reps, and they were all SDR, same role that I was in. And then
Okay.
from that YouTube channel, I was founded by who I work with today, another sales trainer, John Barrows. And we've been working together for the past 3 years. So trained companies like names that you all know, Salesforce, Google, Slack, LinkedIn, all those different companies I've done trainings and Q&As for. And so that's where I'm coming from. And so that's my background, and, excited to be here.
Awesome. That's a good, what did you go to college for?
I went to college for finance and sports management. I wanted to be a sports agent. So I went in a completely different path than what I originally wanted to go do. So it's kind of funny.
Well, let me ask you this. For entrepreneurs, what is sales? Explain to them what is sales as an entrepreneur, because let me just say this. As an entrepreneur, we don't have the manpower that other companies may have to have a whole sales department, right?
Yeah.
So speak about being an entrepreneur and having to implement sales it's really an art. So talk about that for the entrepreneurs to help them generate money.
First and foremost, right, when people think of sales, you think of it as a bad term. You're like, that's slimy, that's aggressive, like I don't want to be a liar, right? Like that, those are the things that I thought about, right? And so now what you have to think about in being an entrepreneur and putting yourself out there and knowing how to sell, right? And knowing how to prospect is, first and foremost, sales is the transfer of enthusiasm. So, especially as an entrepreneur, right? You are probably the most excited person about your service and solution, right? It's your baby. I started a company in college, and like that was like my thing. I was like, yo, no one else is gonna work harder than me at the thing that I want to create, right? So,
right.
You as a CEO, you as a business owner and entrepreneur have more of an advantage than some sales reps because you have more enthusiasm than a sales rep would, right? So like that's a real key thing as well. And then also number 2 is, don't think about sales as trying to push someone or trying to get them to do something that is slimy or things of that nature. Think about it as solving problems. Like the reason you started your business, right? The reason you have a service is that you're solving a problem. So sales at the end of the day is just solving problems and asking the right questions so you can unveil where the problems are and then add value on top of that. And that's what I've seen to be sales at the end of the day. And that's why I truly enjoy the art and the science of sales, is because that's what it is at the end of the day.
You know what? I agree. I tell you one thing. When I was in staffing, and what we fail to realize, as entrepreneurs, we always want to do the things that excite us, but we don't want to do the things that's not so exciting. And when I was looking at sales wasn't so exciting. It's like, the constant rebuttals, the constant no. And how do you get them to say yes? But what you're saying is like, if you don't look at it like trying to shove it down their mouth, but if you really believe you have a solution, you can kind of navigate your way to get the person to see like this benefits you in this aspect.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, it's harder to do that when your focus is the money.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go into that, because that's key that you pointed out there, Nicole, because what ends up happening with sales or looking to close a deal is you're only focused on the outcome. You're only focused on how can I close the deal. When sales at the end of the day is focusing on closing for the next step. That's the biggest miss that people have. It's like, I'm trying to close this $10,000 deal. Well, are you closing the next steps to get to the $10,000 deal, right? It's not like you're not going to go on a date and be like, all right, if first date goes really well, I'm going to marry this person. That's ridiculous, right? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So, but we do the same thing. We think about sales. We think the first call, like, all right, cool, I'm going to close this $10,000 deal, instead of focusing on closing for the next step. So it's about being more emotional about the process and not about the outcomes. Because the more emotional I get about my process, that means I'm going to ask the right questions and I'm going to do the right things. And I'm not so focused on closing this deal. That is obviously the end result, but I'm not focusing on that, because all I'm focusing on is how can I figure out this conversation so I can close for the next step and the next step and the next step. And that's my only focus every single time is I'm getting on this call. What do I need to say to get this person to be like, okay, I want to move forward in the next step?
Right. Absolutely. So we need to have a plan. Listen, ladies, It's truly important. You know, I come through, I haven't been through in a while. Let me talk to my platform for a second. I haven't been through in a while. Ladies. Welcome, welcome, Black Business Women Network. Thank you, Wendell, that is the owner of the Black Business Women Network, for always allowing me to come through and be transparent and give my knowledge and intelligence and wisdoms in the areas that I specialize in. Ladies, I always come through and I tell you these things, but the reason why I bring guests in now on Fridays is because so we can kind of confirm what I'm saying, right? So you can understand what I'm bringing to the table, that we have to actualize ourselves in every aspect of our profession, in every aspect. And what he is saying is so true. At my sales, at my give me a second. I'm getting a senior moment, guys. You know how I get senior moments. When I was a recruiter, I had to make 150 cold calls.
Crazy.
Right? 150 cold calls. And again, I was focusing on not the next step. And let me explain. And this is what I want you to come in and explain to them. So if we're not supposed to focus on the end result, and we need to focus on the steps. What are the steps? Because you have entrepreneurs out here that don't know the steps. They're not in the sales position at work. They're, you know, a lot of them are in different fields. They don't know what it takes to generate money. So what are the steps?
So what are the steps? So these are the most basic steps within a sales process. However, if you talk to other people, they can get super granular and super technical, but let's keep it in the basics here. And then obviously you can expand from there. So the first step is prospecting, right? So you got to have conversations, right? You can't close air, right? So the first thing you have to do is, okay, I got to have conversations. Now, prospecting in itself, if we want to branch out even further, there's different lanes in that, right? There's referrals, right? You depend on what kind of business that you have, right? You could be more referral based business, right? So those are things to think about. Also on top of that as well, it could be people that you already know, right? That you could get meetings with, or they're just cold. You've never talked to people before. So that's the first step, right? In order to close something, you have to have those conversations. So what I always tell people is your pipeline is your lifeline, right? Because if you don't have a pipeline, then your lifeline of your business is going to be stuck, right? So that's number one. Then number two is qualifying that person. You know, the hardest thing in sales is to get someone to realize that, okay, this is something that I need, right? So in order to do that, we have to qualify to figure out, like, is this a person that we really want to talk to? And so we want to more focus on disqualifying rather than qualifying this person, because that person might not even be really needed for our service. And then obviously they end up ghosting us and they ignore us, and we don't want that, right? So prospecting, qualification, discovery, that's where, especially for, you know, the woman listening here, this is where you thrive more than the males, right? So based on studies, right, women have better listening skills just based on facts, right? Like I could go give you a ton of different studies. You all are better listeners. So this is where you really thrive, because you're able to have better listening than we do. So you're able to ask better questions. You're more intentional, and that leads you into the automatic next steps as well. So prospecting, qualification, discovery. Then the next phase you're going to go into is the acceleration phase. And that's based on the discovery that you've gotten, right? So the answers that you've gotten from that, you found the pain points, you found the impact of why this service or solution is beneficial to them. Now you move into an acceleration phase. And then 5 is negotiation, and then 6 is closing. So there's 6 stages of this process. And if you know what to do in every single point of that process, that's what leads to success. So prospecting, qualification, discovery, acceleration, negotiation, and closing. Those are the 6 steps that you can take over and over and over again that will help you grow your business when you're focusing on the selling piece.
And this process is universal, but you need to apply it to your field. So you would say you would need to know, you would need to have knowledge and understanding about what you're doing, so you can kind of shape and cultivate, the process.
Absolutely.
To benefit you.
Right, because that 6-step process, that could be 2 calls, right? It depends on what you sell. It could be, hey, I'm qualifying and discovering and creating acceleration. The second call is a negotiation and close. However, some of you may have a high ticket item, right? And that may take 7 calls to get to the close, right? So everyone's going to be different, but those are the steps that you're going to take regardless of how many calls you have. That's what leads to the close.
Awesome. Listen, Morgan, let them entrepreneurs. I have a question.
Yep.
Should we be only focusing on marketing and branding, because that's what a lot of entrepreneurs doing? They don't understand sales is an intricate part of building a company.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference when you have your business as an entrepreneur. You put your products out there and you hope for a sale. But then when you're building a company, sales is where you have to go, and that's where you can drive revenue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Correct?
yeah. So I want to go in that, right? Because there's a difference between sales and branding, right? So
Right.
sales helps you close those deals and bring revenue into the company. Brand makes you aware to the marketplace that you have something to offer them, right? So
Come
brand
on.
gets people in the door, but that doesn't mean that they're going to stay in the house,
Woo!
right? That
Right.
doesn't mean they're going to stay
Right.
and buy it, right? Brand just gets them
Right.
in to be like, I'm interested. What are you about? However, if you can't ask the right questions, if you don't want to close on those questions, if you can't close for next steps, then that's where it puts you in a bad spot, right? So you
Right.
can't just be like, hey, I just want to build this amazing brand, because then you obviously have to have that sell in there. Now, obviously, there's brands out there who've done really well, like the Nikes and the Apples, et cetera, right? However, they have that background as well as in the selling, because they're able to have good customer service on top of that as well. So,
Right.
and building
Absolutely.
building the brand from the beginning is making sure that, hey, what do you want your brand to represent? What is that voice to the marketplace? And it depends on how you're looking to grow. Like maybe you get advice from someone who's really good at brand, because maybe you're a really good brander, but maybe you're not as good at sales, right? So maybe you should get
Right.
advice from someone on sales, right? But brand and sales are two different things, and they obviously can be meshed together to get results, but they're two different things.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let's have a moment of silence for that knowledge. Good Lord. Because you don't understand. I tell the ladies that all the time.
Yeah,
Branding, marketing, advertising, those are three different beasts, right? And then sales
they
is a
are.
whole beast in itself. But utilizing it together is what gets results for companies. Correct?
Absolutely.
How
Absolutely.
long, again, I don't know if I asked you this, but how long have you actually been in sales itself? From college on to? So how many years is that?
Oh, so it's been 4 years, 4 or 5 years,
4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years.
Not to go. Oh, okay, so you kind of green in that area.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, I see experience and skills as two different things.
Come talk about that. Come
So
talk about
think about
that.
it. Think about it, right? You could go on LinkedIn right now, and someone's been in a job for 17 years. They have experience.
Right.
However, do they really gain skills through that experience? Right? Why are they in the
Right.
same role for 17 years? Right? Like, think about that, right? You can have experience in something, doesn't mean that you have skills in it. Those are
Yes.
two different things, right? And
Right.
so for me, yeah, I've been in sales for 4 to 5 years. However, what my focus is I'm going to gain as many skills and execute on those as much as possible. On the weekends, I'm listening to podcasts, right? I'm reading books, I'm reaching out to mentors, and I'm taking their advice and executing on it, right? Someone could be in sales for 20 years and have experience in sales. However, they could have been a B minus C plus rep, barely making it by.
Woo, come on
So,
now.
so
Come
really,
on.
so really
Okay.
pay attention. There's a difference between experience and skills.
So let me ask you this. In sales, right? Does it take, is it character or skills? And is it experience or education?
Okay, so you're saying, so if I had to choose someone, if it was to be character,
Right, right.
skills,
So,
or
so what would you say if you would say to somebody sells and you would say it's more skill than character, more
okay,
education than experience? What would you say the mix up is?
I believe it's if I had to choose just two,
Right. Is it right? Uh-huh.
that's a good question. It's a good question. I would choose character and education, and here's why. Because
Okay.
people at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you have good morals. That's my belief, right? Because
Right.
over time, especially in a world right now where, okay, you don't have a good character, you don't have good morals, I might not want to work with you, right? Because there's so many different options that are out there, to be honest, right?
Right.
So I want to make sure, is this someone, especially from an entrepreneur standpoint, it's like, hey, do I want to align myself with this person, right? Because if their character's off, I may not want to work with them. I mean, you see all the people right now that are spouting out all different things, right, about what's happening with racial movement. You see people, obviously, the Me
Right.
Too movement that got let go, that got cut off, right? They had the skills, they had the education, but their character was flawed. And so they got ripped and
Come
replaced, right?
on.
So that's why character is important. And I think number two, education, because you can educate yourself to get skills.
Okay.
Right. So you can
Right.
educate yourself to still get the skills. And also you want to have a mindset of continuous education, because once you get the skills, it doesn't mean like, hey, oh, I'm really great at this, so now I'm gonna chill. Right. You know, I don't know if you guys
Right.
saw the documentary The Last Dance. And, you know, the main thing with Michael Jordan, right, is that he continuously educated himself about the game of basketball. And that's how he got those skills, right? So I think what it comes down to is having the character, because that's where people are going to want to align with you based on morals and ethics, etc. And then also the education, because you need to continuously be getting yourself better every single day. What I always tell people is get 1% better every single day, and that will help you get to the results you're looking for.
Oh, get 1% better every day.
1%,
I know that's right. That's good God. Don't take a lot. 1%.
That's it.
You will reach 100 one day. Listen,
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I love it. Wait a minute. You said a couple of things. It's like I'm speaking to myself in a mirror. You said a couple of things. The mindset is very important. Mindset is very important. Character, I agree with. I think it takes a lot of character. That's why in my mentoring program, I focus on actualizing.
Yep.
Right? Right?
Absolutely.
Actualizing, evolving into a greater person, and then exercising your mind, reading, understanding, and knowing how to use information, knowledge, and turn it into wisdom.
So it's called accurate education or accurate knowledge. So
Okay.
essentially what that means is that once you have something, right? Once you've learned about it, it doesn't mean like, oh, wow, okay, that was cool, and then you move on. It's taking that action with it, right? So it's called accurate knowledge of like, okay, this is something I like, and I want to go execute on it, and I'm going to do it. You know, you mentioned visualization. You know, there's one thing that I do is I'm happy and grateful statements, right? So I speak certain things into existence from the spiritual realm to the physical realm so I can go execute on those things. However, if you're not
Mm,
doing that, right, then your negative mindset will bring negative situations. And so, but if you're thinking about, okay,
right.
I'm going to accomplish these things, right, you still got to take action, right? However, if you say, hey,
Come
I'm going to
on.
do them, and you take action, it will put you on the journey of where you need to go to get those results.
Wow. Let me explain something to you. It's like I couldn't ask for a better guest. I'm saying to myself, listen, dropping all them jewels. They're on here saying you never stop supposed to be learning. He said they're dropping them gems. Yes, good God. We must them gems. You know, GEM stands for grow, evolve, manifest, and succeed. Okay.
Oh, okay. I like that. Hey, I didn't know
That's
that. I
that's
like that
what
one.
GEM stands for.
I
Okay.
like that.
Yeah, I made that up. I came up with that in my institution. Do you teach the sales cycle? Do you do courses, or is it just a YouTube thing?
I do sales training for organizations, also do like one-on-one coaching. My specialization where I really focus is on prospecting. So I help people get meetings. So that's like my main thing. Like if you're like, okay, I can't get meetings, I'm like, all right, cool. Like this is what you need to do to get those meetings.
Oh, then I think you're gonna have to talk to this whole group. I think the
Yeah.
whole group is gonna be on their line. I'm gonna be the
That's what
first.
I
I
do.
get first dibs. I get first. I come first. I go first. Thank you very much.
I got you. I got you.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a question, because I'm into targeting and then prospecting. What do you
Okay.
say about that?
Yeah, so you have to know who you're going to talk to, right? You don't want to just pick up the phone or make emails and send videos to people if you don't know who you're talking to. So that comes down to the ideal customer profile. And so what that means at the end of the day is who are the people that fit your profile that would buy your product or involve in your service. So that's also what you have to know as well, because if you don't know what that is, you're basically blindfolded and just shooting in the dark. And we don't want
Right.
that. You want to make sure that you know what your ideal customer profile is, and so you can engage with them in the right way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So targeting is very important. And then you prospect, which kind of narrows that down and kind of
Yep.
filter it out for you to be able to make the close. I was dealing, let me ask you a question, because I was dealing with Salesforce, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when Salesforce first hit, when I got into the staffing industry in 2004.
Mhm.
They weren't that much old. I know they was in their early years, and they used to provide the leads. They don't provide the leads anymore. It's just a CRM.
Mhm. Yep.
Why is that? Why are companies, what is going on with that? Give me the inside scoop on why companies are now separating being a CRM and being a lead company.
Well,
What
what's hard, right? So because there are so many different ways of going about and getting a lead right now, and also there's a lot of services and solutions out there that provide that. And so when
really?
you think about, yeah, so when you think about a lead, right, you think about finding data, you think about, you have to find emails, phone calls, who you're going after, LinkedIn Sales Navigator. There's a lot that goes into it. And also it depends on what you define as a lead too, because the things I just mentioned might not even be relevant to you, right? So B2B, like you be more on the LinkedIn side, right? If it's B2C, you might be on Instagram and Pinterest. And so you might not even need something to go find leads, because you might be targeting people on Instagram that are just, again, direct to consumer. So it really depends on what you define as a lead. There are
Mm.
services out there that can help you find leads and find data, but it's really going to depend on, again, who you're going after at the end of the day.
Let me ask you a question. So this goes down to what fields, what businesses should be investing in leads?
Everyone should.
So let me ask you this, because you
Yep.
said B2C and B2B is different. If you're
They are
B2C,
different.
you could go to Instagram. What's the
Yep.
sense? Because people, when you have a consumer, how can I say, plan or
Yeah.
target, or you're looking to go that route, they're
Yep.
just looking to buy. But when you go B2B, it's more like a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So why would it favor someone in B2C to buy leads?
I think it depends on what they are selling, right? Because
Okay.
you can go find people that are interested in certain things, right? And target them based on an interest that they've had, right?
Okay.
You could
Got
go
you.
you could go on Facebook ads and obviously send ads to people. However, at the same time, those people that you put in an ad, right, are essentially buying a lead, because those people will then be in your funnel, and then you can engage with them based on a video that you put out, right? So it depends on what you're selling at the end of the day, that will then translate to what you would buy leads on. B2B, obviously you buy leads there, but on the B2C side, there could be instances where you could buy those leads. I'm not saying it's for everyone, but
Right.
something to think about too, because you may not want to
Okay.
spend
So
that time
on the
finding
B2C, on the B2C level is more advertisement. You got to learn how to strategize your ad, right? You got to
people.
learn
Yeah,
how to place an ad based on an audience.
exactly.
Where can some people go? Where can entrepreneurs go to learn about the trends in the market?
Yeah. So in terms of trends in the market, I think the best place to go, and you guys are gonna be like, this is an obvious answer, is Google it. Like at the end of the day, you could literally be like, hey, these are the trends in the market, and then Google it, and then boom, you got a tons of things that are there and tons of resources that are happening. That's always how I find my stuff is. I'm like, hey, look, cool, let me just Google it and figure it out. There's tons of resources out there. So not like a groundbreaking answer, but that's more so
Right.
like what I see at the end of the day is like, okay, well, let's just Google this and find the information that we need.
Yeah, because what information would they trust? See, that's the thing right now.
Yeah.
I worked for IBM. I was an executive assistant to all the VPs, right?
Mhm.
And I used to have to create PowerPoint presentations.
Mhm.
And the amount of money they spent on market research around the world.
Yep.
No, seriously. It seemed like as an executive assistant, I was getting paid 60 plus thousand a year just to do PowerPoint presentations and to do copies of reports,
Yep.
right? So I want you to explain to entrepreneurs why it's important. I know, but I want you to explain, coming from the actual corporate world, why it's important to understand your market from a sales perspective. As a CEO of a company, why
Mhm.
it's important for them to have that information for you.
At the same time, right, a buyer is going to be more knowledgeable than they have been in the past too. So the reason
Okay.
that you want to have your insights in order is because sometimes people already know what you're already selling. I think the stats like 70 or 60% of the market already knows the insights of what a company has before they even have a conversation, because you can easily go find it yourself as a buyer,
Right.
right? So at the same time, the reason it's important to understand your market is so that you're having knowledgeable conversations, and you're really, at the end of the day, like I talked about earlier, is asking the right questions, right? Because if you know the right insights, you're studying, you're looking things up, you're going to be able to ask the right questions to get the right answers. And that's why it's super important, as someone who is a CEO, who is a business owner, or even in sales, to understand what is happening in the market, so I can ask the right questions and I can have knowledgeable conversations, so that the people that are investing into me feel
Right.
comfortable and confident in making that decision, because I know my insights. If you don't know your insights, right, that's where people hesitate and they say, hey, Lim, I got to think about it, or etc.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions? They coming in. You know, us women, we're a little different. You're right. We're listeners. We
That's
don't.
fine. I know.
We're
I know.
not but I know they're listening and they're taking heed. I would love to have you come through on my platform for my followers and give a class. Just let us know how much it's going to cost for you to do the class. Absolutely. Listen, I'm all about investment. I don't do anything for free. Don't come to me talking about it's free. Don't come to me telling me this is something for you and it's just no. I don't do anything for free. Okay. So even if you're paying me 2 cents, even if I have to pay you 2 cents, right? Because it's an exchange of appreciation. That's what I found out in life. It's called appreciation. So I would love for you to come through on the platform and basically give them the understanding of sales and its cycle, the cycle of what it means to a business in general, not the individual doing sales. Like, we as entrepreneurs need to understand the elements of our business, of a company, right? And how it works, so we can understand how to build a company. A lot of entrepreneurs are doing like, again, I'm saying marketing, branding, promotions, and all this stuff, but they don't understand what sales is, and they're wondering why they don't have a consistent fluctuation of money flow.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, think about it, right? Because a lot of people, right, talk about branding. Branding is a hot topic. Social media is a hot topic, right? So that becomes a main focus for a lot of people, and not focusing on, okay, like, let me learn different sales skills as well.
Absolutely. And branding is, and like you said, I love that you said it. I have something called the MBA system. And I tell people marketing is the who, branding is the what, and advertising is the where. Okay. So marketing is who, branding is what, and advertising is where. And that is and like you said, branding brings awareness. You got to know how to bring awareness. But after you do all this marketing, branding, and advertising, which does the communicating for you, now when it's time for you to speak for your business, what are you going to say?
You gotta know what to say, right? You gotta know exactly what to say.
Exactly. Listen, thank you. I want to thank you so much for coming through on the platform. I also just wanted to say, you made a reference about basketball, about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I thought Kobe Bryant, I'm sorry, God bless today, I think he was the epitome of character. And I just want to say why. Because I didn't like Kobe Bryant. I really didn't like him. I had to learn to respect him for his skills. Okay, I did. I said, you know what? I don't like that dude, but he can play some basketball. But what brought me around to respecting him is watching his documentary after he died, and the things that he said, that he had to learn that he had to be more than basketball. Basketball taught him it was more to life than just his talent. Right? So I say that I'm going to ask you, tell him, what's your more? Even though, because I'm a visionary, and this is, I guide visionaries. What's your vision? What's your more, if you don't mind sharing with us?
Yeah,
Is it sales?
Yeah, no, I'll tell you. So I'm glad you brought Kobe Bryant up. That was an extremely sad day for me. When I heard it, we were in a meeting, and like, someone told me Kobe Bryant died, and I like laughed, because like, that's not really funny. So we shouldn't be saying that stuff. And they were like, no,
Right.
like, he's dead. And like, I saw it, and like, I started crying, because for me, like, that was my hero growing up. I like saw a glimpse of Michael Jordan, right? I wasn't through the whole
Right.
6 things, right? Because I'm on the younger side. So Kobe was like the Michael Jordan for us. And so,
Right.
to see what he did, and you're absolutely correct. Like I have his book over there. And the thing that I realized about him outside of basketball was his growth as a person. Right, he came in the league, was like, "Yo, I'm Kobe, got the mini afro," right? And then like you
Right.
notice, like as each year he grew, not only as a basketball player but as a person, right? And that was really
Person.
key. And he had a lot of great mentors around him. I was Phil Jackson, right? But like he definitely grew as a person. And so, one thing that he said, and when he first started basketball, he was 15, I think it was like 15, 16 years old. He was in the locker room and like he stood on a chair and he's like, it was at a basketball camp. He was like, "Hey, I'm going to be the best basketball player of all time. So, yep, that's me. I'm Kobe Bryant." And everybody like laughed at him like, "Dude, what are you talking about?"
Right.
The thing is, obviously, like he's definitely in the top 5, top 10. If you really want to
Absolutely.
break it down, right? If you really want to break it down. And so the reason I'm saying all that is because as he obviously was towards the end of his life, he started talking more about like he wanted to become more basketball. He wanted to be more of an impactor and things of that nature. And so that's the same for me. I know sales is a vehicle, but it's not the end destination. For me, my whole goal ever since I graduated college was to be one of, if not the biggest impactor of all time. And so, what that means is that giving value, learning things along my journey and sharing that so then people feel empowered to go do what they need to do. I don't come from a seat of like, "Hey, I have $1 million business or a $10 million business. Check me
Right.
out." It's more so like, "Hey, this is me from the beginning of my journey right after college. Like follow me and like, let's see what happens." And that's what I'm going to stay to. And I hope that journey impacts other people as well.
Well, you definitely doing a lot of impact. And like I said, I seen your video. Out of all the videos on that website, you were the one that I was like, you know what? I like his whole energy. I love
Yeah.
energy. You seem authentic, right? So
Yep.
it's just a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you for breaking it down. I'm going to be keeping in touch with you in regards
Absolutely.
to at least running a class or staying in touch with you, because if you do a class, at least I can get that information to the people in the group, the women in the group.
Absolutely.
Please, if you just let them know at the end, give them your handles. Let them know you do coaching. I'm quite sure some ladies would love to call you and get some one-on-one sales coaching,
Yeah.
your website, and everything else.
Absolutely. So my information is Morgan J. Ingram on LinkedIn. That's the best place to message me, hit me up. That's where I'm the most active. In terms of if you want to go another place, Instagram, Morgan J. Ingram. So again, super easy places to go find me. If you just type in Morgan J. Ingram, you could find me on LinkedIn, Instagram. Those are the ones I interact with the most. Twitter's out there too. So there's a place you can connect with me.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Mr. Morgan.
Yeah. Hey, I like that. Hey, there we go. We ended out on a high note.
I am too. I have a lot of energy. I want to say thank you so much. Hopefully, we can collaborate and do some
Yeah.
amazing things. I am a vessel of change. I'm on assignment, and I'm all about mental astuteness, cognitive potency in assessing
Yep.
situations, self, and circumstances, and getting the best benefit out of it, right? And creating opportunities. I would love for us to get together and be able to bring something to entrepreneurs so we can level the economic playing field. Because as you can see, guys, seriously, we're doing a lot of marching and we're doing a lot of protesting, but we're not doing any building.
Mhm.
Understand what I'm saying to you. We're doing a lot of marching, we're doing a lot of protesting, but we're doing no building. Okay. And that is a problem. We are not doing any building, excuse me. And that is a problem. So it's very important that we come together and we start building Black H&Ms, Black JP Morgans, Black investment firms, Black companies. And it's nothing against the other counterparts, but it's time for us to rise by our own hands and stop looking for a hand me down. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to add on to that, you can, and then we can exit out.
This is the one thing that I'll say is, everyone in here is considered a leader. You're running a company, you're a business owner, you are by default a leader. And what I want everyone to think about is we can all post a lot of different things. We can all post videos, but the most important thing is to be an action leader and not a thought leader. There's a lot of people out here just posting a lot of stuff. It's cool, whatever. That's great, awesome. But if you don't take any action behind what you're saying, then really it doesn't mean anything at all. That's what I'll end on.
I'm gonna quote you on that. You have to write a book with all of your sayings.
Take it.
Right there. Be an action leader, not a follower leader.
Hey. I'm trying to give people some wisdom out here. That's all I'm trying to do.
Well, keep doing YouTube. Keep bringing it. You hear me? And I'm going to be following us 49K women. We will be following, and we're looking to uplift our kings and for our kings to uplift the queens.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming through, my friend. Have a good day.
Hey, you have a blessed day as well. And you and everyone watching, you guys have a great Friday and a great weekend.
All righty. Bye.
See you.
Okay, guys. That was a nice little.
Playing from iPad.
I don't own the rights. Hey, it's your girl, Rainbow.
One of us can't say it playing right. I let you tell it. Place yourself in the shoes of two felons and tell me you won't fall every chance you get. Every chance you get.
It's a skill, baby. Learn how to sell. Let's go. Hot, hot. That show, good God. Yes, I love you more than you know. Gonna let you, cause I love the dope. I love you too, boo. We gonna rock out today. Ha-ha. Hey! Hey! Get to the cell. Get to the back. Get to the shit. No, upgrade. Happy Friday! Listen, you gotta know to shake elbows with. I'm touching them.
Trying to see 5 mil off the single, for real. You ain't phasing
the amazing.
When your guns raising,
Mom be blazing.
See, you wanna see me on talking sweetness, just give a
light.
Quick. Hello, bad boy, collabo, MCs with mad culture.
I love you. Gonna let I love y'all.